The warning ignored. In the vast reaches of the galaxy, peace had reigned for thousands of years. The Galactic Council, made up of alien species from different corners of space, had kept the galaxy in harmony. Each species respected the others, and war was a distant memory. It was a time of prosperity and understanding, where alliances were built on mutual respect and shared goals. But there was one warning, one event, that would change everything. Deep within the Council's headquarters, high in the floating towers of their capital planet, the most trusted intelligence officers sat huddled around a table. They had just received new information about a distant planet in the Sol system, a small, unremarkable world known as Earth. Their sensors had picked up strange signals, unlike anything they had encountered before. Unusual patterns of communication, crude at first, but showing signs of rapid development. The humans were starting to awaken. One officer, a member of the Xaldari species, the oldest and wisest among them, leaned forward. "This planet," he said in a deep, resonant voice, "they are dangerous. I can feel it. They're not like any species we've met before. They're unpredictable, driven by aggression and survival instincts. They must be monitored closely." Another member, a tall and thin member of the crest species, dismissed the concerns with a flick of his elongated fingers. "They are primitive," he scoffed. "What harm could such a young species do to a galaxy as powerful as ours?" But the Xaldari was not so sure. "You don't understand. These humans are dangerous in a way that we haven't seen before. They don't have the same kind of peace that we've built over millennia. They have a drive to conquer, to expand, to dominate. I sensed their potential to become a force that could change everything." The room fell silent. The members of the Galactic Council exchanged uneasy glances. Their peaceful civilization had thrived because they had learned the value of diplomacy, understanding, and cooperation. But the humans seemed to embody chaos, and that unpredictability could mean trouble for everyone. The crest species officer stood up. "I still say we do nothing. They are too far behind. We are advanced. We have time." A low murmur rippled through the room as more members voiced their agreement. The threat seemed too distant, too abstract. The humans were far from the center of galactic activity. There was no immediate danger. But the Xaldari wasn't convinced. "We must warn the others," he insisted. "We must make it known that humanity is a species to be watched. We cannot let their growth go unchecked. If we ignore them, they will become a threat to all of us." Reluctantly, the Council voted, and the decision was made. A warning would be issued to the galaxy. Humans should not be underestimated. They were not yet a direct threat, but their potential to cause chaos was too great to ignore. The warning was brief. Humanity's rise cannot be ignored. Watch them carefully. But it was too late. The other species of the galaxy did not heed the warning. They laughed it off, dismissing humanity as a curiosity. The humans were too far from the core of the galaxy. Too young. Too divided. They had no unified government, no advanced technology. They were still discovering the basics of space travel, and their wars were of no concern to the greater galactic order. The warnings were ignored. Months passed. Humanity continued to evolve at an astonishing rate, pushing the boundaries of their knowledge. They developed technologies at a pace that defied the norms of the galaxy. Their ingenuity and determination were something the Council had never seen before, and still, the galaxy's most powerful species turned a blind eye. They thought it would be just a matter of time before the humans would fall into disarray, as so many species before them had. Their warnings were dismissed as the ramblings of a paranoid few, and then it happened. In the blink of an eye, humanity crossed a line no one had expected. They unlocked the secrets of interstellar travel and sent their first ship beyond the bounds of their solar system. The humans had arrived. The very species the Council had warned everyone about, the ones they had feared might one day pose a threat to the galaxy, were now on the doorstep. But it was too late to stop them now. The Council tried to react, but the damage had already been done. The alien species that had laughed at the warning were the first to feel humanity's power. Their ships, their weapons, unlike anything they had seen before, were unleashed, and they quickly realized they had underestimated the humans. They had ignored the signs, laughed at the warnings, and now the price was steep. The Galactic Council, once so sure of its wisdom and control, found itself facing a force it couldn't predict, couldn't stop. The humans were here, and they weren't just visitors. They were conquerors. The warning had been clear, but no one had listened. The galaxy, once so calm and peaceful, now trembled under the shadow of humanity's power. The cost of ignoring the threat had come at a terrible price, and there was no turning back. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The price of ignorance. The galaxy had always been at peace. Species from different worlds coexisted in harmony, their advanced technologies and cultures intertwined through mutual respect. The Galactic Council, the governing body of the universe, had always been the cornerstone of this peace, but all that was about to change. For years, the warning from the Taldari had gone unheeded. The message to beware of humanity's rise was shrugged off by the council members, especially the crest species, who believed the humans were nothing more than an insignificant race with primitive technology and a divided world. They had watched countless species rise and fall, and to them, humanity was no different. But that complacency would soon be shattered. Humanity had continued its rapid ascent. As they mastered the art of space travel, they began to explore the stars. With each new discovery, they grew bolder, their thirst for knowledge and power leading them down an unpredictable path. No one could have foreseen just how quickly they would advance. It wasn't just the technology that made humanity so dangerous. It was their unyielding nature. The humans had a drive that no other species could match. While the galaxy's civilizations were built on cooperation, humanity thrived on competition, survival, and dominance. It was in their very blood to push forward, to take what they wanted, no matter the cost. The moment they ventured beyond their own star system, the rest of the galaxy took notice, and not in a good way. A year after the first human ship reached the outer limits of their solar system, humanity made its first official contact with an alien species. The Heather, a peaceful race of traders from a distant part of the galaxy, were the first to experience humanity's new bold attitude. At first, the Heather thought it was a mistake, a miscommunication between cultures. But when the humans arrived with weapons ready, demanding resources and territory, the truth became clear. The humans were not here to trade. They were here to conquer. The Heather, not wanting to escalate the conflict, attempted diplomacy. They offered technology and wealth, hoping to appease the humans, but the humans were uninterested. They had come to take. The Heather's pleas fell on deaf ears as humanity's military power, now far superior to anything the galaxy had ever seen, was unleashed. The peaceful Heather were quickly overwhelmed, their ships shattered, their cities burned. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer a passive species. They were a force to be reckoned with. Back on the Galactic Council, the leaders scrambled to react. Some, like the Taldari, had been warning of this for years, but their voices had been drowned out by the dismissive council members who had insisted on ignoring the threat. Now it was too late. The galaxy's peace was gone, and the council was powerless to stop humanity's unstoppable march forward. The Heather were only the beginning. Other species, ones who had once laughed at humanity's primitive state, now found themselves facing the brutal reality of what the humans were capable of. And it wasn't just military power. Human ingenuity was unmatched. They adapted faster than any species had before. Their weaponry, advanced beyond anything the galaxy had seen, quickly turned the tides in their favor. It wasn't long before entire systems fell under human control. The Council tried to negotiate with humanity, but their attempts were futile. The humans had no interest in diplomacy. They were already too deep in their conquest. Every planet they encountered was either conquered or destroyed. Every species that attempted to challenge them was crushed under the weight of humanity's military might. The price for ignoring the warning was steep. The Galactic Council, once a symbol of peace, was now a shadow of its former self. The galaxy trembled as humanity's power spread like wildfire, and the once unified civilizations began to fracture. The Council had failed to act when they had the chance, and now they would pay the price. But this wasn't just about military dominance. It was about something deeper, something the galaxy had never encountered before. Humanity's spirit was unlike any other species. Their refusal to surrender, their willingness to fight for survival at all costs, made them a terrifying force. And they didn't just fight for land or power. They fought for what they believed in. Humanity's arrival had sent shockwaves through the galaxy, and those who had laughed at the warning now found themselves at war with a species that would stop at nothing to claim their place in the stars. The price of ignorance had been paid. The galaxy would never be the same again. The spark of rebellion. The galaxy, once united under the Galactic Council, was now in chaos. Humanity's rapid conquest had ignited a firestorm, and as their ships soared through the stars, burning entire civilizations in their wake, rebellion began to stir. Planets that once pledged allegiance to the Council now looked to each other for support, realizing that unity might be their only chance for survival. On the once pristine planet of Zathor, a world rich in resources and home to millions, the Council's message was still broadcasted daily. Unity is the key to survival, they declared. Only together can we stand against the growing power of humanity. But the people of Zathor, like many others, were beginning to doubt the Council's ability to protect them. The Hearther had been crushed under humanity's boot, and other species were falling one by one. The Council's promises of peace and protection seemed empty now, and many questioned whether their homeworld would be next. The first signs of resistance began in the shadows. A small faction, calling themselves the Zathorian Defenders, began meeting in secret, comprised of former military officers, rebel leaders, and citizens who had lost everything to humanity's advance. They believed that the only way to stop the human juggernaut was to fight fire with fire. Their strategy? To strike back where humanity was weakest, by sabotaging their supply lines and technological advancements. The Defenders were led by a man named Rethar, a former general who had once served under the Galactic Council's military command. Rethar had seen firsthand the devastation humanity could bring, and he was not about to sit idly by while his world crumbled. His heart burned with the desire to protect Zathor, and he knew that if they were to survive, they had to take the fight to the humans. "I've seen what they can do," Rethar said to his fellow Defenders. "But we got something they don't. We have the will to fight for our homes. They may have their weapons, but we have something stronger. Unity, cunning, and the fire to stand against them." It wasn't long before word of the Zathorian Defenders spread across the galaxy. Other planets, once content to stay out of the conflict, began to take notice. The Cretans, a proud and powerful species, sent envoys to offer support. The Talaran, a technologically advanced race known for their covert operations, joined the cause, bringing their stealth and intelligence capabilities to the table. Soon, a coalition of species united under a single banner, bound by the common goal of stopping humanity's unchecked expansion. The first major strike came in the form of a surprise attack on a human supply depot located on the outskirts of the Hearther's former homeworld. The Defenders, utilizing the Talaran stealth technology and Cretan battle strategies, launched a daring raid. They struck swiftly, disabling communication systems, destroying key infrastructure, and forcing humanity to retreat. The battle was fierce, but the resistance had made their first major mark. The galaxy was watching. News of the attack spread like wildfire, and for the first time, humanity found itself facing a true challenge. But the victory was bittersweet. As soon as the humans regrouped, they retaliated with overwhelming force. Zathor's skies were darkened with the arrival of human warships, and the Defenders knew that they were not just fighting for their planet anymore. This was no longer a mere rebellion. It was a war. The human forces, angered by the Defenders' success, were ruthless. Zathor's cities were bombarded from orbit, its resources stripped away to fuel humanity's war machine. The battle raged for days, and Rethar's heart broke as he watched his people suffer. But through the smoke and the fire, something shifted. The Defenders had proven something crucial, that humanity could be fought. They had shown the galaxy that resistance was possible. The spark of rebellion had been lit, and it was spreading faster than anyone could have predicted. The once unified Galactic Council was now a fractured relic of a dying era. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: the fight for survival had just begun. And humanity, who had once seemed unstoppable, was about to face a galaxy united against them. Humanity strikes back. The galaxy trembled as humanity regrouped. The surprise attack on the supply depot had thrown them off balance, but the response was swift and brutal. Human warships, gleaming with cold, efficient power, descended upon Zathor. The message was clear: resistance would not be tolerated. From their fortified command centers, humanity's leaders watched as their forces rained down destruction. The Zathorian cities were obliterated, and the once vibrant planet was now a shell of its former self. But humanity's response, though swift, only served to intensify the fury of the rebellion. They had underestimated the resolve of those they thought they had already crushed. Rethar, the leader of the Zathorian defenders, had prepared for this moment. His heart ached as he saw the cities he loved reduced to rubble, but he knew the fight was far from over. Humanity had made a grave mistake. They had provoked a force greater than any military strategy: unity. The defenders fought back, using the Talaran stealth technology to carry out covert strikes against human supply lines. The Crescent warriors, known for their brutal combat techniques, launched surprise raids on human outposts, wreaking havoc in the depths of space. Every move humanity made was met with an equal and opposite response from the galaxy's united front. Humanity's initial arrogance was now replaced with desperation. Their warships, once symbols of unmatched power, were beginning to falter under the relentless attacks from multiple fronts. The war was no longer one-sided. The galaxy was rising up, and humanity was starting to feel the weight of the opposition. But the humans weren't done yet. They weren't a species known for surrendering. Led by their ruthless commanders, they reorganized and launched a new offensive, a devastating assault aimed directly at the heart of the rebellion. Earth's military might was focused on one singular goal: to crush the defenders once and for all. The battle for Zathor reached a fever pitch. On the ground, Rethar and his soldiers fought with everything they had, determined to hold their planet against the relentless human onslaught. He knew the stakes were higher than ever. If they lost, it wouldn't just be Zathor that would fall. The entire galaxy would be at the mercy of humanity's iron grip. The humans unleashed a secret weapon, one that had been kept hidden from the galaxy's eyes: the Titan-class dreadnoughts. These massive warships were equipped with enough firepower to destroy entire fleets in a single blow. When they entered the fray, the galaxy held its breath. This was no longer a battle of tactics, it was a battle of survival. The Titan-class dreadnoughts arrived in waves, their colossal forms casting long shadows over Zathor's broken cities. Their weapons, capable of erasing entire continents in a flash, tore through the planet's surface. Rethar watched in horror as one of his cities was erased from existence, its towering structures reduced to dust. But the defenders didn't flinch. They had come too far to back down now. "We will not surrender," Rethar said to his comrades, his voice filled with determination. "No matter how powerful they are, we will fight to the end. We've proven before that we can stand against them, and we will prove it again." The defenders regrouped and launched a final desperate counteroffensive. Using the planet's natural resources, they constructed guerrilla weapons capable of damaging even the Titan-class dreadnoughts. They set traps, sabotaged human technologies, and fought with every ounce of strength they had left. But as the humans tightened their grip, it became clear that the cost of this war would be astronomical. Zathor's surface was pockmarked with craters, Entire continents had vanished, and its once proud cities were reduced to ruins. Yet, despite the overwhelming force brought against them, the defenders did not surrender. As Rethor stood amid the wreckage of his world, he realized something important. This was no longer just about Zathor. The fight had become something larger, a war for the very soul of the galaxy. Humanity's ambition had sparked a fire, one that would not be extinguished until the galaxy had a say in its own future. The tide was shifting. The rebellion, fueled by the desire to protect all that was dear, was far from defeated. Humanity had made a grave mistake by underestimating the power of unity, and the galaxy was awakening to the truth. The war was far from over. The turning point. The galaxy had never seen a war like this. What began as a simple warning, humans were a force to be reckoned with, had escalated into an all-out battle for survival. The alien forces, initially underestimated, had now united under a singular banner to drive humanity out of their galaxy. But the humans weren't backing down. They had never been a species to retreat in the face of adversity, and the war was quickly reaching a breaking point. In the heart of human space, the War Council was convened. President Kendra Mitchell stood at the head of a long table, the weight of the galaxy pressing on her shoulders. Behind her, a vast array of tactical displays filled the room with maps and projections. The fate of humanity rested on her decisions, and the stakes had never been higher. "The situation is dire," Kendra said, her voice grave. "The enemy has us cornered, and we've lost countless fleets. But we're not finished yet. We still have one card to play." General Derek Price, a battle-hardened officer with years of experience, stepped forward. "We need to break their unity. If we can fracture their alliance, we'll gain the upper hand. The Zathorians, the Crescians, the Tolerans, they all have their own motives for fighting. If we strike at their divisions, we can turn the tide of this war." Kendra nodded. "Agreed. We'll target their leadership, force them to question their unity. We'll make them realize they're not just fighting humanity. They're fighting each other as well." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the tide of battle was shifting. The defenders, though skilled, were beginning to crack under the pressure. The constant barrage of human weapons, now refined to target their weaknesses, was taking its toll. Rethor, once so confident in his leadership, found himself questioning the odds. "We can't hold them off forever," Rethor muttered, staring at the holographic battlefield. "But we can't give up now. We've come too far." His officers gathered around him, eyes filled with the same grim determination. The situation was dire, but they were all in this together. They knew that surrender wasn't an option. If they gave in now, they would lose everything. And so, they fought on, though the weight of despair was growing heavier with each passing day. Humanity's war machine was relentless. Their fleets, powered by innovations that the galaxy had never seen before, began to push deeper into enemy territory. The war was no longer a simple clash of arms. It was a psychological battle, too. Each new human victory sowed seeds of doubt among the alien ranks. In a desperate move to gain an edge, the Zathorians launched a new weapon, the Caloris Rift Bomb, capable of ripping apart the fabric of space itself. It was their last-ditch effort to take down the humans once and for all. If they could open a rift in space, they would effectively wipe out the human fleets in an instant. The bomb was sent toward the human stronghold, its countdown ticking away. The humans scrambled to develop a countermeasure, but the bomb was already on its way. Then, in a move no one expected, humanity's scientists, led by Dr. Evelyn Hayes, created a device that could neutralize the Caloris Rift Bomb, a temporal disruptor that would disrupt the bomb's ability to tear through space. With seconds to spare, the disruptor was deployed. The Caloris Rift Bomb exploded in a burst of energy, but instead of tearing space apart, it dissipated harmlessly into the void. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as humanity's ingenuity turned the tide in their favor. It was a defining moment in the war, a demonstration of humanity's incredible resourcefulness and resilience. The Zathorians were left reeling, unsure of how to proceed. But the victory came at a cost. Humanity had lost thousands of soldiers, countless ships, and millions of credits worth of resources. The war was far from over, and every victory was paid for in blood. As the human fleet continued to press forward, the galaxy began to understand. Humanity wasn't just a threat. They were the future of the galaxy. As the war raged on, Kendra and her generals discussed their next steps. "We've cracked their unity. Now we strike while they're vulnerable," Kendra said, her voice cold with determination. "It's time to finish what we started." The turning point had come, and humanity was on the rise. No longer were they the underdogs. No longer were they simply trying to survive. Now, they were leading the charge. The galaxy would never be the same. The final strike. The tide of war had shifted in humanity's favor, but there was still much to be done. The galaxy's greatest military minds now looked to the future, strategizing the final push that would break the alien forces once and for all. The enemy was on the defensive, but they were not defeated. It would take one last, decisive blow to ensure that humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer questioned. Inside the War Council, President Kendra Mitchell sat with her generals and commanders. The weight of the decision before her was heavier than ever. The fate of the galaxy, not just humanity, rested on their shoulders. They had come far, but the last leg of the journey would be the most perilous. "We've broken their unity. The Zathorians are fractured, the Cretans are retreating, and the Tallarans are on the brink of surrender," General Derek Price said, his tone resolute. "But there's one last piece we need to remove: the Grand Fleet." Kendra looked at the map laid out before them. It showed the final stronghold of the alien forces, the Grand Fleet, led by the Supreme Commander, Rethar. If humanity could strike a decisive blow against this fleet, it would cripple the remaining alien forces. Victory would be theirs. "We need to strike now," Kendra said, her voice steady. "We've been holding back, waiting for the right moment. This is it. We'll take everything we have and hit them with everything we've got." But as she spoke, doubts crept into her mind. What if this final attack didn't succeed? What if the aliens had one last trick up their sleeve? The thought weighed on her heavily. However, there was no turning back now. Humanity had come too far, and retreat was not an option. Across the galaxy, the human fleets prepared for the most important battle of their lives. Ships were refueled, weapons checked, and soldiers briefed. This wouldn't be like any other battle they had fought. This was the final fight, the one that would decide the fate of the galaxy. As the fleets moved into position, the enemy watched from their stations, the tension palpable. Rethar knew that this battle would determine the fate of the galaxy. He had watched humanity rise from a small, insignificant species to one capable of challenging the most powerful forces in the universe. The Grand Fleet had been built to withstand any threat, but humanity was not like any other enemy. "Prepare for battle," Rethar ordered, his voice cold with resolve. "We must stop them now, or it will be too late." The two forces collided in a storm of laser fire and explosions. The battle raged on for hours, each side trying to gain the upper hand. Human tactics were sharp, precise, and unpredictable. They fought with an intensity that the aliens had never seen before. The human fleet had become a living, breathing entity, each ship working together, each soldier fighting for the same goal. But the aliens, too, were formidable. The Grand Fleet was massive, brimming with powerful ships and advanced technology. The battle was a brutal, unrelenting clash of forces, with neither side willing to give an inch. At the heart of the battle, Kendra's flagship, the Phoenix, led the charge. She stood at the helm, watching as the enemy fleet closed in. Her hands gripped the controls tightly, and her mind was laser-focused. Every decision, every movement, had the potential to turn the tide of the battle. "We need to break their line," General Price said, his voice coming through the comms. "The enemy is stronger in numbers, but we can use their own tactics against them." "Understood," Kendra replied. All ships, initiate Phase 3. We'll split their forces and hit them from all sides. It was a risky move, but Kendra knew it was their best shot. With a series of synchronized maneuvers, the human fleet broke through the enemy lines, splitting the Grand Fleet in half. The aliens were thrown into disarray as the humans attacked from all angles, relentlessly pounding them with everything they had. In the chaos of the battle, Rethar's flagship, the Vanguard, was targeted. The human forces had successfully infiltrated the aliens' most protected area. Their path to victory was clear. But then, just as victory seemed within their grasp, a sudden surge of energy from the Vanguard caused a shockwave that threw the human fleet into chaos. The unexpected counterattack was a desperate move by the aliens to even the odds. It could have been humanity's undoing, but they weren't finished yet. Brace for impact. Kendra shouted as the shockwave hit, but her crew was ready. The Phoenix held steady, and the humans pushed forward once more. As the dust settled, the outcome of the battle became clear. The Grand Fleet had been shattered. Rethar's forces were in disarray, and the once feared alien fleet was now in retreat. The victory was hard won, and the cost was high, but humanity had emerged victorious. The war was over. The aliens had been defeated, and the galaxy was now at the mercy of humanity. The cosmic powers that had once warned of humanity's danger had been proven wrong. No longer were humans just a minor species. They had proven their strength, their resilience, and their place in the galaxy. As President Kendra Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, looking at the stars beyond, she couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Humanity had not just survived the war. They had conquered it. The galaxy trembled, not out of fear, but out of respect. The universe had witnessed the rise of humanity, and from that day forward, no one would dare question their power again. The new dawn. The war was over, but the journey for humanity was far from complete. As the remnants of the alien fleets retreated into the dark corners of the galaxy, a strange silence fell over the stars. The galaxy, once torn by conflict, now seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next chapter to begin. Humanity, once a fledgling species, had risen to power and claimed its place in the cosmos. But what would they do with that power? President Kendra Mitchell stood at the podium, addressing the newly formed Galactic Assembly. The representatives of the galaxy's remaining civilizations had come to witness the dawning of a new era. An era where humanity would lead, not with an iron fist, but with wisdom and strength. "We stand on the precipice of a new age," Kendra said, her voice steady and filled with hope. "The war has taught us many things. It has taught us that unity is our strength, and that we are capable of overcoming any obstacle. But most importantly, it has shown us that our place in this galaxy is not just one of survival, but one of leadership." The room was silent as the representatives absorbed her words. The once feared humans were now viewed with respect, not just for their military might, but for their ability to lead with honor and integrity. Their strength had been proven on the battlefield, but now they were being given the opportunity to shape the future of the galaxy. Kendra looked across the room at the faces of the alien representatives. The Talarans, the Zathorians, the Crescians, all were there, having accepted humanity's invitation to form a new alliance. It was a bold move, one that many had feared would be met with resistance, but it was a move that would change the course of galactic history. "We are not here to rule," Kendra continued. "We are here to rebuild, to forge a future where all species, human and alien alike, can live in peace and prosperity. The war has cost us all dearly, but from the ashes of that conflict, we have the chance to create something new, a galaxy united by our shared experiences, our shared pain, and our shared hopes." Her words resonated throughout the chamber. The fear that once lingered in the hearts of the alien species had begun to dissipate, replaced by the realization that humanity's victory was not just a triumph of power, but a triumph of possibility. As Kendra finished her speech, the assembly erupted in applause. For the first time in history, The galaxy was not on the brink of destruction, but on the edge of a new beginning. Humanity had earned their place in the Galactic Council, not through force alone, but through their vision for a better future. Outside, the stars twinkled, each one a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the untold possibilities that lay ahead. The war had been won, but the true test of humanity's strength was only just beginning. It would not be fought on battlefields or in the corridors of power. It would be fought in the hearts and minds of every citizen of the galaxy. As the leaders of the galaxy sat down to discuss the future, Kendra could not help but reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. From the first whispers of humanity's power to the final battle that shattered the alien fleets, the galaxy had witnessed a transformation unlike any other. And now, it was time for humanity to lead not as conquerors, but as stewards of the galaxy's future. The road ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But humanity had shown that it was more than capable of rising to meet those challenges. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, more united, and more determined than ever before. The galaxy was no longer a place of fear and war. It was a place of hope, of new beginnings, and of endless potential. And as humanity looked toward the stars, they knew one thing for certain: the future was theirs to shape. Kendra stepped down from the podium, her heart filled with a sense of pride and purpose. She had led humanity through the darkest of times, and now she would help guide them into the light of a new era. The war was over, but the story of humanity's rise to power was only just beginning. As she looked up at the stars, Kendra knew that the galaxy would tremble no more. Humanity had found its place among the stars, and with it, a new dawn had begun.